Why is it that traders often feel an overwhelming need to control every outcome? In the market's chaos, many cling to the belief that if they just work harder, analyze more, or will it strongly enough, they can bend the market to their will. It's a seductive thought that with enough effort, you can eliminate uncertainty and guarantee success. But this belief is a trap. In trading, the harder you grasp for control, the more painfully you realize how little control you actually have. This is the illusion of control, and it's one of the most dangerous psychological pitfalls a trader can face. Imagine a trader named Aria. She's meticulous and intelligent, the kind of person who believes every problem has a solution if you just apply enough brainpower. When Aria started trading, she approached it like an engineering problem. She spent countless hours fine-tuning indicators, backtesting strategies, and reading every piece of analysis she could find. At first it seemed to work. A few quick wins convinced her that her thorough planning guaranteed results. She felt invincible, thinking, "Finally, I've cracked the code. I have control over this market." With growing confidence, Aria started increasing her trade sizes and taking every setup that matched her analysis, convinced that her careful calculations could control the outcome. Then one day, the market threw a curveball. A sudden piece of unexpected news hit, something no chart or algorithm could have predicted. The price whipsawed violently against one of Aria's perfectly planned trades. Initially, she panicked, but her mind whispered that she could fix it. Refusing to accept a loss on something she was so sure about, Aria doubled down, then averaged into the losing position, certain that, if she just managed it actively, she could force the trade back in her favor. But the market didn't oblige. It kept moving against her, indifferent to her analysis, until her losses spiraled beyond anything she'd planned for. In a single morning, months of gains vanished. Aria sat there stunned as the realization hit. Despite all her analysis and planning, she never really had control at all. In a way, she pressed the self-destruct button on her trading without fully understanding why. This is the harsh lesson many traders learn too late. No matter how smart you are or how hard you work, you cannot control the market. The charts you study, the patterns you spot, the news you follow, they give you an edge at best, not a guarantee. The market has a life of its own, driven by countless factors you will never fully grasp or command. Yet, the illusion of control tricks you into thinking that the more you analyze, the more trades you take, or the more you stare at the screen, the safer you'll be. In reality, it's like trying to cage the wind. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Why do we fall for this illusion? Part of it is human nature. We crave certainty. From an early age, we're taught that effort equals results. Study hard and you get good grades. Work hard and you advance in your job. So it's only natural to assume trading works the same way. That if you put in more effort, you should be able to control the outcome. Just look at everyday life. People often cling to small rituals or false signals to create a sense of control. A gambler at a casino might roll the dice a certain way, believing it will bring a better result, even though the outcome is pure chance. A sports fan might insist on wearing a lucky jersey during a game, convinced it helps their team win. We all fall for these illusions of influence because the alternative, admitting we have no control over something important to us, feels frightening. But trading flips that script. You can do everything right and still lose, or do something reckless and sometimes win. It feels unjust, so our instincts rebel against it. We double down on analysis, trying to find that one definitive answer that will give us a mastery over the chaos. The irony is that this desperation for control makes us more emotional and less disciplined. We start seeing patterns where none exist. We take trades that don't fit our plan because we feel we have a special insight this time. We abandon risk management, telling ourselves just this once because we're sure we're right. We start behaving less like rational strategists and more like gamblers convinced they have a system to beat the house. Think about it. Have you ever moved a stop loss further out because you couldn't accept being wrong, or jumped back into a trade you just closed, convinced that now it surely would reverse in your favor? These are classic symptoms of the illusion of control at work. It whispers that if you just try a little harder or give the trade a little more room, you can will it into success. In reality, you're often just digging a deeper hole. If you're serious about mastering these principles, my new book, Mind Before Profit, goes deeper into every lesson we cover here. You'll learn how to rewire your psychology, compound discipline, and build consistency from the ground up. The illusion of control also thrives on past success. A few wins can trick you into thinking, I knew it. I can predict at the market. It's not that your analysis or skill played no role. Maybe you did have a great setup, but luck always plays a part in any single trade. When we win, we rarely attribute it to luck. We credit our skill, and that bolsters our sense of control. The next time we go in even heavier, with even more confidence that we've got the market figured out. Picture a novice who wins 5 days in a row and assumes he's found the secret. On day 6, feeling invincible, he doubles his usual position size because he's on a streak. All it takes is one surprise market move that day, and all those gains from the past week, maybe more, are gone in minutes. That shock, that sudden reversal of fortune, is the illusion of control shattering. This is when things often go wrong. Just when you think you've tamed the market, it rears up to remind you that you haven't. A trade goes south for reasons you never anticipated, or volatility spikes out of nowhere and hits your stop before reversing back. In those moments, the shock can shatter a trader's confidence. They either react by trying to seize even more control, taking revenge trades, furiously trying to fix the situation, or they become paralyzed, losing trust in their perfectly good strategy because it didn't give them the certainty they expected. So, how do you escape the illusion of control? The first step is a kind of surrender. Not a surrender to the market in the sense of giving up, but a surrender of the ego's need to be right on every trade. You must internalize that you do not control market outcomes, only your own actions. It takes humility to do this. Your ego will resist, because it feels like admitting weakness or defeat. But in truth, accepting that you can't control everything is not weakness. It's a sign of wisdom and strength. Trading isn't about never being wrong. It's about how you manage being wrong. You must internalize that you do not control market outcomes, only your own actions. Think about that. You can't make the market go up because you bought, and you can't will it down because you sold. What you can do is manage your risk so that no single trade can derail you, define your edge and execute it consistently, and control your reactions to whatever the market throws at you. And importantly, stop viewing the market as an opponent you have to conquer or an enemy out to get you. The market isn't personal. It doesn't know you or care about your feelings, and it certainly can't be controlled by your sheer will. It's more like a force of nature, neutral, powerful, and beyond anyone's command. You can't fight it into submission. You can only respect it and adjust to it. When you truly understand this, you won't feel anger or betrayal when a trade goes against you. You won't waste energy trying to get revenge on the market or prove something to it. You'll simply focus on what you need to do in response. This realization is liberating once you accept it. When you stop trying to control the market, you redirect that energy towards controlling your behavior. Instead of saying, I will win on this trade because I know I'm right, the mindset shifts to, I will follow my plan and manage whatever happens. You start respecting your stop losses because you accept any trade can fail. You stop moving stops or doubling down out of denial because you know that's just trying to impose your will on an indifferent market. And when a trade doesn't work, you don't take it as a personal failure or a sign that everything is broken. You understand it's just probabilities playing out. Letting go of control actually gives you control back in the areas that matter. It allows you to stay calm when the market does something unexpected because you were already prepared for surprises. You become like a seasoned sailor on the open sea. You don't try to control the ocean, you adjust your sails. If a storm comes, you don't curse the sea for not following your plan. You simply navigate through it, knowing storms are part of the voyage. Likewise, a seasoned trader doesn't rage at the market or try to force a trade to work. They adjust, they manage, or sometimes they simply step aside and let the storm pass, knowing another opportunity will come when the conditions are favorable again. Another aspect of escaping this illusion is focusing on process over outcome. Judge your success not trade by trade, but by how well you followed your trading plan and risk management. You might ask, how can I feel successful if I lost money on a trade? By measuring success in terms of discipline and execution, rather than just dollars made or lost on one trade. Did you take a setup that fits your proven edge, Did you manage risk properly? If so, that trade is a success regardless of outcome, because you know over a series of many similar trades, the odds are in your favor. That's thinking like a casino instead of a gambler. A casino doesn't know which hand will win or lose for the house, but it knows over thousands of hands the odds ensure a profit. The casino accepts the uncertainty of each roll of the dice. It doesn't try to control each outcome. It simply plays its edge consistently. You need to adopt the same mentality. When you do, single trade losses stop feeling like failures and single trade wins stop inflating your ego. They're just data points in a much larger sample. Ironically, when you stop trying to be in control of everything, you gain a new kind of power in trading. The power of clarity. By no longer demanding certainty from the market, you can see what's happening more objectively. You become quicker to admit when you're wrong because your ego isn't on the line each time. You can exit a bad trade without hesitation because you're not clinging to the hope that you can force it to work. You can let a winner run a bit farther because you're not micromanaging every tick out of fear. In short, you trade with a calmer mind. And a calm mind makes far better decisions than one twisted up, trying to microcontrol every movement. To illustrate this, imagine two traders taking the exact same trade. Trader A and Trader B have both identified a promising setup with their strategy. Trader A enters the trade, sets his stop loss and take profit, and then steps back. He's prepared to either win or lose according to his plan. Trader B enters the trade as well, but he can't resist the urge to micromanage. As soon as the price ticks against him a little, he feels a wave of anxiety. He closes the trade prematurely to avoid a loss, telling himself it's better to be safe. Moments later, the market starts moving in the original direction of the trade. Trader B, now frustrated that he exited, jumps back in, this time at a worse price. Not long after, the market swings yet again, a normal fluctuation, and this time it hits Trader B's stop loss. He ends the day with a loss on a move that, had he stuck to the plan, would have been a win. Meanwhile, Trader A's patience pays off. The trade hits his take profit level as expected, and he logs a gain. It was the same setup, taken at almost the same time. The only difference was mindset. Trader A trusted the process and accepted whatever outcome came. Trader B tried to control every moment and ended up sabotaging himself. This is how a calm, disciplined approach triumphs over a restless, controlling one. Think back to Aria's story. Her turning point came after that devastating loss. For a while, she was angry at the market, at herself, replaying every moment of that trade, trying to figure out what she did wrong, as if there was some detail she could have controlled. But eventually, she realized the only thing she did wrong was believing she could control an unpredictable event. In time, Aria rebuilt her approach from the ground up, this time focusing on what she could actually control. She made a solid trading plan and promised herself to follow it no matter what the market did. She limited her risk on each trade so that no surprise could destroy her account. And she practiced letting go. Once a trade was placed, she would step back and allow it to play out without intervening unless her rules told her to. Slowly, she began to feel a different kind of confidence. Not the brittle confidence of, I know what the market will do, but the steady confidence of, I know I can handle whatever the market does. In the months that followed, her account stabilized and then began to grow steadily in a way it never had during her earlier hot streaks. Each small loss she took according to her plan felt minor, a necessary expense, compared to the massive, uncontrolled losses she had suffered before. Each time she let a winning trade reach its target without intervening out of fear or greed, it reinforced her trust in the process. Aria was not just rebuilding her account, she was rebuilding her mindset, one disciplined decision at a time. Trading even started to feel calm for her. No more white-knuckle anxiety on every trade, but a quiet confidence. By relinquishing the need to control everything, she finally gained control over the only thing that mattered, her own actions and reactions. That is the subtle yet profound shift that separates struggling traders from consistently profitable ones. Profitable traders still analyze, plan, and prepare, of course. They still seek to tilt the odds in their favor. But they aren't under the delusion that they can eliminate uncertainty. They expect uncertainty. They embrace it. Instead of trying to control the market, they focus on controlling themselves. They have the discipline to stick to their strategy and risk management, the humility to accept when they're wrong, and the patience to wait for the right opportunities rather than trying to force trades out of desperation. They understand that in the long run, this mindset gives them far more control over their results than any amount of overanalysis or micromanaging ever could. In practice, this means they set hard stop losses and actually honor them. No canceling or moving them in the heat of the moment. No dragging a stop further out just because they can't bear to be wrong. In fact, many trading disasters start with someone ignoring a stop or not setting one at all, convinced they'll close the trade themselves at the right time. But when that moment comes, their emotions often freeze them, or they keep hoping and holding. A small loss balloons into a big one. Using a hard stop is a sign of respect for the market, an admission that if a trade goes wrong, you'll take the predetermined loss and move on. It's a simple habit that can save your trading account. Yet those clinging to control resist it until they learn why it's so crucial. They also resist the urge to constantly tinker with a trade. Once it's in, they follow their plan. If their strategy says no new trades during certain hours or conditions, they have the patience to sit on their hands, knowing that not trading is often the smartest move. They treat each trade as just one small part of a bigger plan, not a make-or-break moment to obsess over. Many keep detailed journals of their trades and feelings so they can spot when they're slipping back into that controlling mindset. These habits, using your stops, sticking to your plan, being patient, reviewing your behavior, engage, are all about controlling yourself, not the market. And they make all the difference. In the end, the illusion of control is just that, an illusion. Real control in trading comes from surrendering the futile attempt to control external outcomes and dedicating yourself to mastering your internal environment. It means accepting the only certainty is uncertainty and finding peace with that. When you do, trading stops being a frantic struggle to predict and control every tick. It becomes a disciplined practice of executing your edge and managing risk, trade after trade. Some trades will win, some will lose. But over time, with the right mindset, the results will take care of themselves. And paradoxically, by giving up the illusion of control, you gain something far more valuable: consistency, longevity, and the mental freedom to trade without fear. Talk to any seasoned trader, and they'll confirm it. The turning point in their career was when they finally accepted they can't control the market. Every successful trader has a story of that one humbling loss or eye-opening moment that forced them to let go of their ego and embrace uncertainty. Those who lasted decades in the markets did so by focusing on their own discipline and risk management, not by trying to wish or force outcomes. Remember that the next time you feel the urge to grab the steering wheel of every trade, real control comes from self-mastery. If this resonated with you, remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss a new episode from Mind Before Profit, where traders turn psychology into profit.